Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Star Podcast. I'm your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chill. This is episode number 87, and of course I'm joined by my co-host Scobie One,
Welcome back, everybody.
and we are also welcoming back our other co-host Lunatic Oblivion.
Hey guys, how you doing today? And we have a special guest, Vic.
Yes, we do. We're welcoming in Paul, aka Inhuman. He's coming in from our Shoot to Win community over there. He's one of our Call of Duty analysts. So Paul, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, like what's your name, what do you do for a living, games you like to play, or even a fun fact about yourself.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, as you said, I'll go by Inhuman. You can call me Paul if you wish. I am, I guess, one of the newest recruits within Shoot to Win. I am an analyst slash player for them now. I guess games that I'm playing currently Call of Duty, obviously.
Yes, sir.
I'm still kind of have like a little high off of the Diablo 4 beta. I definitely fell in love with it. I guess fun fact about myself. Before Call of Duty, I was also competing in Ghost Recon as well, within high value targets. Shout out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, primarily it.
Hey, that's pretty dope, man. That's awesome. Well, definitely welcome on to the show. It's always a pleasure to have new folks come on and check us out, man.
Appreciate it.
For sure. So, Roger, if you want to kick us off here with games played this week.
Yeah, so I picked up Loop Hero, one of the games that just hit Game Pass last week, and actually I've been quite surprised. We talked about this as being one of the newest additions that Game Pass has picked up, and this is actually really interesting. So it's kind of a roguelike. Every map it changes how it's played. You got 3 different characters you play, and as you play through the game actually adds features to the game. So like when you start, there's like nothing. The game has nothing to it, and as you play through it, just new stuff clicks in, and you'll have new menus open up, new dialogue. It kind of feels like Vampire Survivor in the way that like you get a start menu and it fills in the start menu as you're doing stuff.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And this game's also on Game Pass, which also makes it unique, so it allows anybody to hop in, check it out, and without spending that money. Because I mean, this is a smaller game, so I assume it's probably like maybe $10 at most, maybe 15. That would be my guess. I mean, I could be completely wrong on that, but that's pretty
But
awesome.
to play it for free on Game Pass,
It's a huge
like,
deal.
you just can't beat Game Pass.
No, not at all. So, Paul, you said how you've been playing obviously Call of Duty. How's that been with the new season?
Surprisingly, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of felt like it was a letdown. There was a lot of streamers and content creators who were promising a huge buff within the movement, a huge buff, within just the shooting mechanics. Honestly, it feels like barely nothing was done, but I'm not mad at it. It's a much slower paced game, so trying to do like a mid-season update where you try to make it feel like I don't know, like a Black Ops 3. It's damn near impossible. So
Right. No,
not too
yeah.
mad at it.
Yeah,
Have you been playing the token event at all, Paul?
Yes.
Has that added like an extra little bit of oomph for you?
it I'm not gonna lie, it gives me more of a reason to play different modes. So I kind of backed off of Warzone a little bit, but in order to get the tokens, like you can't just continuously collect them. With the multiplayer, you can only collect up to 6 per match. I believe Warzone you could collect up to 8. I'm not sure about DMZ mode though, but it does kind of give you more incentive to kind of like jump into Warzone if you want to get those extra 2. But it's a little weird because the tokens you trade them in for kind of like a secondary battle pass system, but it doesn't feel fulfilling enough. It's not really rewarding. The stuff you get, it's cool, but it just feels more like it's a secondary thought and a pass.
Yeah, and so far like the 2 highest tiered things, the second highest is a 150, and then the highest so far is 1,000, and it's like that's a jump. That's a jump. But I will
And
I will
it's a
say that
calling
it is-
card. A calling
Yeah,
card for
but it's-
1,000.
but it's the calling card. Okay.
I guess.
It's the calling card. You are the token master. But it has added some hotspots around those deposit centers, which I guess I mean it's been fun for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So, Scott, what have you been playing? I see you've been obviously playing some Call of Duty. We'll dive into that here in a little bit. But Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has. I know you haven't really been playing a bunch of games a lot because of being in the army. But have you played a little bit more since last week?
It is, and so I've played a little bit farther along, but yeah, like you said, I've had drill this week, and so it's been just driving out, waking up at 5 in the morning, getting home at 5 o'clock at night. One of my troops, one of my best friends, stays with me while he's down here, so he doesn't have to travel. And we all just kind of like go do our own thing. So it's been a very, very light gaming week for me. But I have moved a little bit further, and I can't wait to see. We got 12 days left.
It should do.
That should suffice. I think we'll be okay on that.
Yeah, hopefully you can finish the game in those 12 days leading up to Jedi Survivor.
Never underestimate my ability to make a final press at a video game. And if I have to pull that card out, I will make that final press for sure. But Vic, looks like you've been just getting after it as well. So what have you been up to?
As you can see here on my list, I beat Rage 2 on stream last night, so that was fun. Adding it to another game that I've beaten this year. I think I'm up to like 14 or 15 games for the year, so I'm doing much better this year as opposed to last year. I'm on a roll. Got to make sure I can make this content for Shoot to Win. So definitely on a roll there. But I did promise last week that I was going to check out Mighty Doom for you guys, and it's a very interesting take on a mobile game, especially using the Doom IP. But it's very like, it's really easy. Like you're controlling your character, going up, killing all the enemies. You go through the portal, you go to the next level. You kill all the enemies, go through the portal, go to the next level. You're collecting like resources and stuff like that, upgrade abilities. But then like I think it's like every 10 levels you face a boss, and it's the same boss every time. And like I got to the first one and I was like, I got annihilated because I'm not leveled up high enough. So you got to keep playing those same 10 levels, get to the same boss, die, repeat, whatever. And I only played like maybe 20-30 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, cool. I can see where some people might enjoy this, but as everyone knows, I'm not huge on the mobile gaming front. I just wanted to hop in, like I promised you guys, to give it a go. But it looks
You
good.
didn't use your cheat code, the credit card?
No, definitely not. Not spending money on that game.
It's just a 16-digit code that you put in, and you basically win.
Yeah, that's not happening. Can't do it. Paul, have you checked this game out at all?
It's a toilet game for me. It is a huge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's and the wife be banging on the door and telling me to get out of the bathroom. Like, hold on. But
That's how Raid Shadow Legend was.
Yeah. Oh, you don't get me started with that. I still play that. But that game.
The stream is not sponsored. Everyone else in the world.
Yet. Not sponsored yet.
Yeah.
They'll inject that
Put
shit
it
in
out
there
there.
at some point.
But like, yeah, you are right. When you get to that first boss, it definitely feels like a huge like difficulty jump. Like, I'm a huge like fan of the Souls games. Normally, within like Souls games, when you're fighting the enemies, they'll get slightly difficult up until you get to the boss, and those enemies kind of give you an idea of how the boss battle is going to be. This mobile game is nothing like that at all. It's kind of like just, hey, shoot some enemies, get cool gear, and then once you get to the boss fight, it's like, do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it feels like the old game Slashy Souls. Like that game was difficult too.
Yeah, I might continue just to see how the game plays after beating that first boss. Like that's my goal, and then we'll see how it goes. If it's worth keep playing, and I'll keep it on the iPhone. If not, it'll just get deleted like the rest of the mobile games for the most part. I mean, the only mobile game that I've really enjoyed over the past year is probably Vampire Survivors. I played a lot of that on Xbox, but once they released it for iOS and Android, I was like, yeah, now I can play this game that I really love on the go on my phone. It's really simple, so it kind of just works. But guys, you guys were making fun of me a little bit here before the stream started. Yes, I started The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild finally for the first time, and I mean, I only played for I would say maybe 15-20 minutes. I went through like 2 runes, trials or whatever, the puzzles, and unlock like new abilities. I got the bomb that you can throw and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, Roger, remember the game Immortals Phoenix Rising when I played and I talked about that game? It's pretty much a clone. Like, Immortals Phoenix Rising is a clone of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, everything. The whole stamina meter, the locking the abilities, going to the different realms, doing the same puzzles. Like, it's still that mythos as well. So it's like, okay, I see why I enjoyed Immortals Phoenix Rising, because it's based off of a very successful formula already. So
now that you're playing the OG, you're like, wow,
this is
Immortals Phoenix Rising wasn't that great.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I really enjoyed it.
For a minute, I was really worried that you were going to say that The Legend of Zelda was a
copy
rip-off.
No, 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 no. I would never do that. No, 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 definitely not. But overall, I've been enjoying it. I had the Switch also at the hospital, given my circumstances. So I'm balancing between those two. I bought it because it was originally only supposed to be like a 1 day stay or 1 night stay there, and it's going to be a lot longer than that. So now I have the Xbox and the Switch there, so I can bounce back and forth between those. But I did want to talk about my last game here on the list here because we can skip Call of Duty and Forza Horizon 5. They're on my list every week. But I checked out a game on Game Pass called Before We Leave, and this is like a Sim City kind of builder, but like they're individual like hexagons or something like that, and like those are different spots that you can build on, and like this is like it's like post-apocalyptic. Like society went underground and now they came up and now you're trying to rebuild and you're trying to rebuild with like the remnants of the past. So then you're trying to slowly progress and whatnot. So like I had to scavenge like wood and iron and stuff like that. And I built a wooden pirate ship basically that was is scrapped up. I rebuilt that and then I sailed across the sea, found a new island. I'm trying to colonize that, and that's as far as I got. I stopped playing after that point because it took me about an hour to do
ended
that.
up playing this a few days ago. I forgot all about this, and I was like, before we leave, oh yeah, I played that. It was just one of those things. You click on Game Pass, you're like, sure, I'll try
Why not?
it for 5 minutes.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing is,
Yeah,
it made
it
it
is
super
for me.
easy because on Game Pass, right, you don't have to install. I don't know how it is on PC, but on Xbox, I don't have to install the game right away. I can opt to play it via cloud, and I played it for cloud for like an hour, and it kept asking me like every like 20 minutes, hey, do you want to download this game? Are you enjoying this game? And I'm like, no, let me play it a little bit more before I make that decision. And like when I finished and I was back at the dashboard, it popped up. It was like, what was your thoughts on this game? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like they
Would
really,
you like to download it?
Yeah, it's
Would
like-
you like to play Raid Shadow Legends?
yeah. So I mean, but overall, it was just one of those like turn my mind off kind of games. Let me just like not go hardcore because Rage 2, fucking insane, dude. Like I beat it, crazy ass game. I gave it a 6 out of 10 though. I'll talk about the review on another episode. But other games here, Roger. You were playing Yoshi's Crafted World today with Disney Princess. How'd that go today?
pretty good. We had a lot of fun actually. Yoshi's Crafted World was the newest installment in the Yoshi's World series, so it's made to look like a sort of like crafting supplies. It's supposed to be a world built out of crafting supplies. So instead of Yoshi's Woolly World, which was on the 3DS, I think, or
I think
the
so, yeah, something like that.
or the Wii U, one of them. It was really fun to play, and it was also in like 3 dimensions, but also being a side scroller. So you had forward, backwards, and you had a bunch of different avenues, and it felt like you were walking along a Mario Party path at sometimes because of how it's split out. But it was pretty fun actually. Disney struggles a little bit with the platformers game,
Yeah.
the platformer games, but I was having a lot of fun. The biggest issue with 2 players though is like if you get close to each other and try to jump, you like land
Hit
on
each
the other
other,
person's
yeah.
head, and you start riding the other person. You're like, this is just weird.
yeah, that's crazy. But Paul, any other games you've been playing over the past couple weeks or all before we move on to the upcoming releases?
I mean, I'm still trying to work through the AWE DLC for Control. Like I
Okay.
pushed that game off like so far. I don't know why, but
Yeah, it's a great game.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of like just the Remedy writing and
Yeah.
stuff. Like Sam Lake is an amazing writer, and just their interconnected worlds. I definitely love it. But I had recently bought like the collector's edition for Alan Wake on the 360, still sealed in this plastic.
Oh, wow.
And it came in the bookcase and all. And when I saw, it, I was like, it's impossible that it's still sealed, but yeah, perfect condition and
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like,
Alan
let me
Wake,
go back
though.
and oh,
Alan Wake, so good.
I
So
I
good.
can't wait for 2 to come
Yeah,
out.
two's dropping soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and so like I was like, you know what? I never played the DLC AWE and everything, so let me go run through that real quick. So I did, and it never fails. The story
Yeah,
just
it doesn't.
never fails.
Yeah, I just love how they're tying in all of the Remedy games, basically, like with Control and
yeah.
Alan Wake. And honestly, like one of the lost games from the Remedy is Quantum Break, which was an Xbox
Yeah.
exclusive, and that game to me was one of the greatest games from the Xbox One era because it had that whole TV show interaction too. Like your decisions that you made in the game determined the TV show, 20-30 minute TV show that you would watch in between main missions. And that game was just really good. I wonder if they're going to have somehow connect those as well because that had that like not paranormal but like that sci-fi like crazy ability kind of game as well. So I'm really looking forward
I
to
think
that.
it's definitely going to happen. I mean, like there are Easter eggs in all their games of each other.
Yeah.
Like my favorite one in Quantum Break is like when you and your brother, when you go walking through the college, if you look up on the board, it actually talks about Alan Wake, and there was a
Hmm.
professor giving a lecture on it. And if you stand there long enough, the main character he looks at the name Alan Wake. He's like, "Oh, I love his books. He's a great writer." So like,
That's pretty dope.
it's definitely in there. But it's I guess the legal things. Which is what happened with Alan Wake, which
Hmm.
is why they couldn't connect it to Control until the rights reverted back to Remedy.
Right.
But it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah. I'm
Alan
looking.
Wake verse confirmed.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely confirmed. So, yeah, enough of what we've been playing. Let's move on to our game releases here. So, give us 1 second. So, Roger, there's a bunch of games coming out this week. We were like, holy fuck, dude, all of these games that are coming out. What's going on here?
All right, so we're entering the prime season for games. School's almost out for a lot of people, only a few months left here. College is let out next month for the most part. So we've got Disney Speedstorm, we've got God of Rock, Minecraft Legends, Puzzle Quest 3, a League of Legends story-based game, The Mage Seeker coming out. We've got Final Fantasy releasing a game. We've got Horizon Forbidden West releasing their DLC. We've got Coffee Talk Episode 2, Lost Epic, Super Meat Boy Forever. We have the Advanced Wars, the reboot on the Switch coming out, and Dead Island to round out the weekend. Like, let's fucking go. So like,
What a lineup.
yeah. So we've got Dead Island 2 on the last day of the week here on the 21st. We've got PlayStation 5, the XNS, 4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC.
Yeah.
So we've got it coming to all consoles. We've got Advanced Wars. This is like a classic, core game that was on the Game Boy, is now coming to the Switch. It's both 1 and 2. We've got Super Meat Boy actually joining iOS and Android, which is interesting. So if you were a fan
another
of Super
toilet,
Meat Boy,
another toilet game.
another toilet game, but one that you don't need a cheat code for.
Yeah.
They're super poopers, man. What do you expect?
Super
And
poopers,
we
yeah.
talked about this last week. That those mobile games, man, it really depends on what you ate that week. Is how long you're going to be spending playing that game. It really is.
And also, like, side note, Marshmallow out here is like, Coffee Talk Episode 2. Are you a fan of Coffee Talk? I've actually never played this game, and, like, if it's good, maybe I'll pick it up and
Yeah.
try this
It's
now
like-
that the second episode's there.
It's a visual novel and it's been received really well, and it's on Game Pass. So, I know everyone's excited for Coffee Talk too. I was like, I really almost downloaded it and played it the other day, and I was like, I might play it now, but I think my next game I'm gonna play from Game Pass is Unravel 2. But yeah, that looks pretty good. But Scott, on this list of games here, I know you don't really like to play a lot of games, but which one are you most hyped for?
I know you're not much of a gamer. You're on this gaming podcast.
I mean,
I don't know. I didn't see any Call of Duty games on here, so I'm not 100% sure. But I would have to. It's got to be Dead Island 2 on
Yeah.
this one. Out of this list, it's got to be Dead Island 2 with a close follow up for Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as always, poop games are popular, right? So I'm probably gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit that up. I'm gonna see what that's about when I'm, having my plenty of time for personal reflection, whether it be in the morning, after some wings, anything like that. But that's gotta be mine to give it up there. What are you thinking?
Which one?
For
Me?
what's your most anticipated?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who
'cause-
you're directing it to.
Right.
I mean, there's three of you, and whoever takes it.
Nah, yeah. Yeah, let's just try to direct it. But yeah, I definitely agree. Dead Island 2, man. I mean, this game has been in development for what, like 20,000 years, I think, now at this point. But it's really good to see that that's finally coming around. But my second one to follow up here is Minecraft Legends. Just because I'm a huge Xbox fan, and I'm really excited to see how they can take Minecraft and go to another genre like they did with Minecraft Dungeons. Now let's see what Minecraft Legends Legends and with that whole real time strategy. I've been hearing a lot of good things too behind it. The previews have been almost like up and down, depends who you are. Like IGN, GameSpot, stuff like that have been reviewing it really well, but then Game Informer's like, this is game's trash. It's not that good of a strategy game, and it's just like I don't think it's really trying to be like the best strategy game. It's trying to take Minecraft to a whole nother genre and just let you have
Yeah.
fun with it. And a lot of the previews, because they have multiplayer, right? You play 3v3 modes, and you're trying to attack each other, kill each other, destroy each other's base.
Well,
And
it's
let me
like
just run it down real
StarCraft.
quick. Yeah, more or less. So you have like one player who could be building the base. You got one player that's going to be out doing resources, and one that's doing scouting and fighting. Or like you can change up the strategy, and it's just really cool to see the flexibility and the versatility within this game.
Wait, so do you all share one base? You don't
Yeah,
have
you all share
you
one
each...
base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I
you're
did
working
not see
together
that.
3v3. So yeah, that was pretty awesome to
So
see
it's
there.
like a tower defense kind of.
Yeah, well,
Well,
kinda in a way, but it's like
it's first person for some of it because you do control a hero,
yeah,
and then your allies follow behind your hero, so you are on the battlefield fighting alongside the other stuff. But it's kind of that third person pulled back from your character, so you're playing three people, I guess, or well, if unless you're playing the story, it's one.
yeah, yeah. So that's really cool.
Okay.
But Paul, are any of these games are you most excited for?
Yeah, so when you just described the Minecraft Legends, it just clicked on my head of what exactly we were talking about. Yeah, I remember when I first saw this, the first thing that came into my head is when Fortnite was originally announced, what the game was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Is pretty much what like Minecraft Legends is, except for now instead of it just being you and a team, it's like PvPvE. So like that's pretty cool to
4v4,
see
nice.
because yes. And it also kind of just makes me think of also Xbox is doing a really interesting thing of the multiplayer things that they're bringing in. It's really nice. So it reminds me a lot of like Sea of Thieves, like
Mhm.
on Sea of Thieves and everything. Like if you have any boat that's bigger than a sloop, it's kind of hard to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
looking on your map, if you get hit, you got to repair. You just got to spin
Build.
You got to do it exactly. You got to do everything. So the Minecraft Legends kind of for anyone who's a fan of that type of games where you have to work as a team, this is going to be perfect. And the fact that you said that there's a story mode as well, it's even better. So not everybody got friends. So what you gonna do?
And it also looks like that the story is co-op up to 4 people, and it's gonna treat it like
Oh.
Minecraft, like Minecraft Dungeons, which was actually hot drop multiplayer. So like you could be playing one player, and then one person jumps in, hot seat, and go. Minecraft
Nice.
Legends is going to be the same way it says here on the article. It says it's going to be competitive players have to work to defeat the others with strategy, equipment, and forces. But in the mode for co-op, friends can just overpower large groups of enemies within co-op. But the game allows you to hot drop in, so you're allowed to just drop in and drop out as you play it, just like Dungeons.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
dope. What about you, Roger? What game is going to hype you up the most on this list here?
So I'm always of the mindset that I need to be optimistic, but also very careful when going to buy a $60-$70 game when
I
Game
agree.
Pass exists. Like Dead Island 2, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna
Me too.
actually wait and see what other people think, because look at what we did last time we bought an overhyped game.
Yep, the last zombie game that was overhyped. Yeah,
You knew exactly what I was talking about. We co-op streamed it, and we were like, "Wow, this is bad, but we're still gonna beat it." We bought it, and we're upset we did.
yep.
And I'm hoping Dead Island isn't that, but Dead Island is only 3 players now. It says
Yeah.
it's not 4, which is weird to me. Like, what game does 3-player co-op and not 4-player?
Yeah,
co-op?
it's either 2 or 4. Like, why you got to be the oddball and go with 3 here?
Yeah, so I'm interested to see that. But also the Mage Seeker, the League of Legends game, I'm actually really excited to like see some more stuff. Like we saw Arcane last year. You know, how awesome was the League of Legends story? Riot does really well with their story-based stuff now. And to see them making now a single-player game based off the League of Legends world to help build it bigger. You're playing as, I think his name is Silas or I can't remember exactly, but he's the chained mage who they tried to keep locked up in Dominaria in not Dominaria in Damascus or something, I think it is. And like he's going around building a revolt. So like it looks really cool. So I might buy that before I buy Dead Island 2 because I'd like to play Dead Island 2 with friends.
No, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure, absolutely.
Hands down, Minecraft Legends day one, it's already installed. It's
Right.
already preloaded on my computer.
Hey,
I am so
And,
hyped.
and we can't forget, guys, this Minecraft Legends is also coming to other platforms as well. It's coming to PlayStation
Mhm.
4 and the 5. It's coming to the Switch. It's coming to the PC. Microsoft is following up with, hey, we're bringing Minecraft to all platforms no matter what version of what Minecraft game it is. Because Dungeons came to all platforms. Minecraft continues to be on all platforms. And now we're getting Minecraft Legends also on all platforms. But no better place to play it than Xbox getting a Game Pass day one. So be on the
Yeah,
lookout
they're
for
doing
that.
everything they can to win an Activision case.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Gotta do
But
it.
look over Forbidden West though. They're only on PS5, so let's see how well their DLC does.
Well,
only being on there,
I see why though. The preview from that game, just the that huge boss that's in the game and what's going to be taking place when you fight that. I don't think the PS4 could handle it at all. Like
Yeah.
it would run into the whole Cyberpunk issue, not being able to. Xbox One and PS4
Absolutely.
can't run it. Like that's really what that's about, and I'm glad
But,
that
like,
they decided
not
to
only
say.
that is what I mean is like the sales we're gonna see for Horizon Forbidden West versus like just the playthrough of Minecraft Legends. Like, just look at these two different things. Let's see how well they do because Forbidden West is only on the PS5.
Yeah.
Minecraft Legends is on everything.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Legends will win.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, hands
I think
down,
100%.
I think it's a
One
landslide.
Honestly, like it's gonna curb stomp it.
I think I got a
What
sleeper
about-
game. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh no, I was gonna say, whatever happened to that League of Legends fighting game that was supposed to come out? They announced
Which
it.
one?
Probably the MMO that Nerdy Squid is
Yeah.
talking about here in chat. Is that what?
And
Okay.
that's still coming out. It's just hasn't come out yet, and this is gonna
Okay.
build more lore for that.
Yes, they're doing a great job, man. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, and honestly, to comment on that before I make my last comment on these game releases here is, I would love to see a Valorant story game because like the story that they tell with these cinematic trailers when they're announcing new characters or new maps within Valorant, I'm like, holy fuck, like where's the story at? Like I would love to play a single player or even a co-op game where you pick 4 agents, you go in like all of these other games that have like the 4 special abilities, like Rainbow Six Extraction, where you pick the 4 specialists, stuff like that. I think it would work really well, but I think we're sleeping on a game here on the list, guys. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series. I think this is going to have the same kind of hype and the same kind of success as that Mega Man collection that we talked about last week. These are remasters of those classic Final Fantasy games from like the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance and the SP and the DS and stuff like that. And some of the bigger games that are shrunken down into like the pixel form as well. So I think that that's going to be a pretty big hit leading up to Final Fantasy 16 that comes out soon in the summer, I believe. So
Amazing, man.
that's going to be awesome there.
And one last thing before we drift away to the next topic, which is industry news. More on the League of Legends MMO. The creative director did leave the game last month, so like there's a chance that this game might never come out. So like be aware that it isn't set in stone. It's still tentative.
Yeah, appreciate that insight because that's going to be huge because that can make or break a game at any given moment. Obviously, if he's leaving, there's something going on. Or
Well, he left
potentially.
last month. He's
Yeah.
already gone.
Right.
So like the director of the MMO is like, this just may never happen. Just so you guys know, don't get too excited.
So, moving on to our industry news here. We'll be right back. So, moving on here, like I said, to our industry news, you just mentioned about the Activision Blizzard deal, Paul. Xbox did just sign another 10-year deal, but this one is kind of interesting because they signed it with the United Kingdom's cell phone carrier, EE. EE is basically a cell phone network and ISP similar to, I guess, Netflix or Verizon over here in the stateside. But Xbox has already have a partnership with EA because they allow monthly like prepaid not prepaid, but like monthly paid services where you can buy the Xbox on their service and then you just add it to your cell phone bill, so you'll eventually unlock it. Same thing with Game Pass and stuff like that. So it makes sense to partner with them, and it just extends the reach and that promise of, hey, these games are going to come to every platform network that you can think of. So, Paul, what's your thoughts on this?
It's crazy. It's almost like, well, not almost like, Xbox or Microsoft is covering every corner possible. So their biggest argument against the whole thing was that, hey, listen, we're not purchasing them specific for Call of Duty. We're trying to really push our mobile gaming. which is quite evident if you've been paying attention since they announced Game Pass and since the first announcement of the cloud with Crackdown 3, when they were like, oh, everything in the cloud.
Yep.
Like, they've been pushing this for quite some time, and they've taken many hits, and they've got the memes, the jokes, and everything. But it took some time, but it's coming all to fruition. So if this is kind of like, it's just them further integrating their ideas within, I guess, the everyday people now. We have the cloud games, cloud-based streaming. The only thing is that it's going to be a little issue now is, are you going to keep the Xbox X Cloud specifically to just the Game Pass Ultimate tier, where you have to pay 15, or is it finally going to get out of its beta access and drop it down to the $10 a month? That's going to be kind of, I think, where I see where the pushing point is going to be, and I do believe when this purchase does go through, that's when all prices will change. So
Yeah,
I do
for sure.
think that the cloud access is going to drop from $15 a month down to 10, and that's going to help further push the business.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And also talking about it not just being about Call of Duty. Remember, they own Candy Crush. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the big winner at the end of the
That's
day. Like
the
we
breadwinner.
we
That
don't
one right
talk
there.
about Candy Crush here because I hate Candy Crush, but like it's huge. It is one of the biggest games. It is the biggest game in the world. It is probably the most played game. Period.
Right.
So, I feel like there has to be a quick side story here in basic training. When we do call out, so you had people who were on fire watch, people who stayed awake while everyone else was sleeping. You swap every 2 hours or so. Every 2 hour, there was an accountability check on a monitor, like into the dorms. And when I was there one night, you have CQ, which is the people that do the accountability checks, and they check in on your bays. Bay 1, Bay 2, Bay 3. Bay 2 wasn't answering. And yeah, everyone knows MTI and everyone knows MTLs love TL, right? So that's their thing. That's their trademark. And over the intercom, I was base 6, so we had to wait until, and like B2 accountability. B2 accountability, and then he screams as loud as he possibly could into the microphone, B2, you're fucking up my Candy Crush game. What is your accountability? So,
I thought B2 was playing.
Yeah, so did I.
B2, no, the guy in CQ was like, you're fucking up my Candy Crush game. What is your accountability? And then, like, later you hear, like, sir, B2, 56 people are here and accounted for. Like, God, now I gotta restart the level. Like, he started yelling. So every time I hear Candy Crush, I think immediately of that story. Love it.
Oh, that's fucking great. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. So at least we had an update this week from the Activision Blizzard deal, because last week we actually didn't have one for once. So, Roger, you got 3 pretty crazy tied-in topics, but not so tied-in topics. What's going on with Nintendo and Discord?
Okay. So Nintendo is just, I guess Japan doesn't want to, can kind of go with the sanctions against Russia here, but Nintendo is considering partnership with a controversial Russia division head, even as it disavows his side of business, but he wants to uphold support to current Nintendo Switch owners. So, like, why are they? It's Russia.
It's
like
tough.
everyone's trying to sanction them, and they're like, we're gonna keep working with them.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, honestly, because, like, the idea is Nintendo sold I don't know how many units of Switches in Russia, so they want to be able to uphold and support those owners of the Switch. But like not be in Russia because they've officially pulled out of Russia altogether. So like they're not there anymore. They don't have a headquarters.
Devices are entering.
Yeah. So but they still have to be able to support it. So they're going to try and partner with a division head in Russia to be able to make that happen. But like not be the main direct ones to do it. So like I kind of like their approach, but like it's very controversial. Like some people are like,
It's the thing is like the people of Russia aren't Russia. They're Russian, but they're not Russia. Russia is currently
they're not the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and that the thing is like though the oligarch that is Russia, and those are the people who are the problem, not just average Joes who like they're struggling to get by in Russia, and they finally like save up to buy a Switch, and Nintendo's like, get fucked, nerd, sanctions.
Yeah,
and it's like, what did they do? Not everyone in Russia supports the war. Yeah, the war machine is churning out people like crazy, but like it's not always their fault, and like they kind of get screwed out here.
Yeah,
It's eggshells. It really is, and one of those things like do you punish the people that are doing nothing? Do you punish the innocent? But
Yeah.
we can have a whole philosophy podcast about things like that. We really
Yeah.
could.
What's your
Yeah.
take on that,
And-
Paul? Any insight on this?
See. I don't know what the other things you have tied into this, but not to tie it back to our last topic, but Japan's in a very interesting situation now. So the whole thing with Russia's going on, but then including our Congress is pretty much telling them with the whole Activision and Sony thing, like, hey, looks like some anti-competitive things going on over there.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe they're just trying to save whatever businesses they have going elsewhere, and this is why they're doing this. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, they already have good business going on over there, so you kind of don't want to cut your consumer base that is there, and like you said, pretty much just say get fucked. Like, you don't want to, especially if they ever already made the investment into your system, because at the end of the day, Nintendo is currently trying to also push the subscription service and all of that. So you kind of don't want to just cut them off by the legs. You want to hold on to what you can, but I mean, with the tensions rising between all countries, different currencies now being used in different countries, like, it's a lot of politics going around. And as a company that's trying to do business in other countries that people might not be friendly with, it's a give and it's take, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. So, Roger, Nintendo's also in the news with something else here.
Yeah, so we know about Discord being a hotbed lately for a lot of activity. The leaked military papers. Now there's leaks for the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom art book. So Nintendo has decided that they're going to subpoena, or they want to subpoena Discord, because somebody has leaked the art book for the new Legend of Zelda, and they're really pissed about it because this is intellectual and copyrighted property that hasn't been put on the market yet, and it's already out there for use on Discord, which is not cool.
Right. Yeah, so
And
we'll definitely see how
to
that
follow
goes.
up with Discord, we also have it being used for the Pentagon documents for the Ukrainian war, and it was spread through a Minecraft Discord server.
So anybody who
let
has
you-
looked into that, yeah, I was gonna say, as the resident Air National Guard member, who is also in cyber, who also has higher clearances,
So you have some
than
inside information.
others- than others. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it seems like this guy was, from what we're hearing on the news, is he kind of was just looking for attention, and this was just, it was a way of like, hey, look at me, I'm special and important, I have this stuff, and it's like, dude, you're gonna get 10 years.
So we will have to keep this portion of it to factual evidence, right? Because that absolutely happens. You are correct. I'm super
yeah.
special. I have things. I look at what I know. These are things I have access to. But I'm very familiar with that AFSC, which is an Air Force Specialty Code, which is a job code. He was a cyber transport technician. So I'm still trying to figure out how a 21-year-old kid who was an A1C, which is an E3 for anybody in a different branch, how the hell he had gotten that. Now, that was an intel wing, an intelligence wing, but still, like, he wasn't an intelligence airman. And so
He definitely colluded with somebody. Had to have.
if my agent is listening, I'm sorry. I know you're probably charged with monitoring all of my my conversations, but like I'm just like, somebody gave it to him. Somebody gave it to him. There's no way some A1C goes out and just finds
Yeah, he shouldn't have had
just looks for it and grabs something that has strategic positions of Ukraine's air defenses. Anyway, that's obviously a topic for another time, but man, Discord is having a rough time with this right now.
And it kind of is coming down to, like, when Discord starts monitoring these things, is are we gonna get to the point where we have to start policing Discord servers that are
Well,
private too? Which, like, it gets a little sketchy there.
There's a lot of
because
gray
does
area.
Discord-
so
Yeah.
that leads me into, there's always, I have that conspiracy brain. I mean, that SB 686 Restrict Act. I mean,
Mhm. Could they have given him the stuff so he planted it there? So
I'm
that
not
now
saying
they have
that.
more yeah. You're not saying it. I'll say it. Like, I
Yeah.
have nothing to lose here. But like, yeah, like maybe it's let's put on a tinfoil hat for 5 seconds. Say, what if this kid was given the information, by somebody who has some clearance to do so, but was told to do it, and they sneak that out, and they're just gonna punish him while also using this as a scapegoat for why we need these laws.
see, guys, this is why we need to be able to monitor every piece of internet traffic in and out of your house. This is why we have to have this, to protect you, the citizen, even though the document had nothing to do with the citizen. It had everything to do with Ukraine and some other things, and it really exposed a lot of our lies. However, this airman, really bad guy, we're going to take care of him, and now because of him, we get all of your shit
Yeah.
all the time.
So,
Yeah.
Paul, you've been quiet here for a couple minutes here. Do you have any thoughts or impressions on what's going on here?
He's been viciously deleting everything. I've been looking at him.
He's just
I know what a delete key sounds like, and he's just been sweating.
Once you said that, for other branches that he was considered like an E3, that puts it a little bit more into perspective. You don't have the clearance for that, simply put.
Well, so he could very well have the clearance, because you can get that. There are requirements for clearances for job positions based off of where you're at and situations. So he could very well have the clearance, but like even having the clearance, like
It doesn't give you access.
you still have your need to know. You still have things like that, and I'm still in my brain. I'm still trying to figure out how a cyber transport airman who deals with switching, routing, like things like that. They're the cable handlers, basically. Right? I'm still trying to figure out where and when that guy got and saw this stuff, had time to grab it, download it, put it on something of a removable media, because knowing the systems, like, you can't just plug a hard drive into that shit.
Yeah.
Can you burn to a disk? Absolutely, but you can't throw a hard drive in there. I do it for like printer drivers all the time.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing is, just to give some insight, when I was on my fiance's family trip this past summer, one of her cousins that was there, he works at the Pentagon, and he had his laptop, and to be able to sign in, he had to like plug in those like fucking 3 different things, like keys to be able to unlock it.
Access cards.
So
things like that, yeah.
So it's like they know when the system gets unlocked, when it gets accessed, how it got accessed. Like, they know. I would think the military or the government should know who did it.
You still have to pull these logs. Like, I do this for a living.
Yeah.
I pull logs and stuff. You still have to trace it and go through.
Yeah,
it's
there's
there,
still
but
They have plenty
Yeah.
of resources to be able to do that.
yeah. Don't worry. If there's one thing we can do, we can tell you what gas station sold the winning lottery ticket and at what time within 3 hours of somebody winning. But it at least takes a week for top secret documents. We gotta figure that out.
I think
you
that's
also
the
have to have
issue.
people who can have the clearance to do that stuff.
Right.
Too.
What were you about to say,
Yeah.
Paul?
No, because like even when you said that, like, this is going to be the way that they try to spin it and saying like, oh, this is how we need access to everything you're saying, which the spin is kind of the issue, because it's like, well, isn't your security the issue then if he's simply able to just grab this and now it's on a Minecraft Discord server?
Oh well, no, it was clearly Discord that was that fault.
Yeah.
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 It wasn't the ease of him getting it. It wasn't the ease of him copying it. It wasn't the ease of his accesses and abilities. Obviously, this was Discord's fault.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Scott, real quick here. Take us out with one last thing before gaming news.
You already
Potterverse.
know. You already know what I'm gonna be talking about, and that is Harry Potter. Bam. So Hogwarts Legacy has still been doing fantastic. Then when they started doing a final toll, they're looking at about 256% higher sales than expected. and it was already expecting high sales, right?
Yeah.
So fantastic, but with success comes other opportunities. We had talked about this not last week, but the week prior about the rumors of a Harry Potter TV show. Um, Indifferent, I guess, or cautiously optimistic would be the best way to describe my feelings about that. However,
Yeah.
what they're looking at right now is HBO Max, also known as, just the Max Now. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be doing a 7-season TV show with the Harry Potter series. Now, obviously, pros and cons. They're going to be remaking a coveted like classic.
Yeah.
But some pros with that, you get a lot more story.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you just can't put into a movie. So obviously this is going to be a new cast with some returning members being rumored to play some other members. I think the one was it was Draco returning but playing Lucius this time.
Okay.
So we're looking at things like that. A little bit more controversy that I had seen from this is that J.K. Rowling will be involved. Regardless, we'll take a minute here. We're going to separate art from artist. And, so I think having the original creator of this universe there as a consultation, you really can't go wrong with that. So yeah, R.I.P. to Alan Rickman and Robbie Coltrane over here. We're just reaching out in chat. It's gonna be hard to see who fills those roles. Those are big shoes. Those are big shoes. Both figuratively for the Half-Blood Prince and literally for Hagrid and Robbie Coltrane. Massive shoes. But if you, for some reason, have Hogwarts Legacy but haven't watched the movies, there's also some good news for you there, because if you did buy a copy of Hogwarts Legacy at the launch on Xbox, you can get a free copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone for our UK friends.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, wow. That's pretty dope.
Nah, man, I bought it on PlayStation. Damn it.
Damn it. so
Damn, dude, I'm over here PS5 like,
Yeah.
what I got? You at least get a story.
Well,
Yep.
oops.
Yeah. So, Paul, just real quick before we move on to our gaming news, I just want to get your thoughts on what was your thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy?
Jeez. So first off, full of transparency, I am not a fan of Harry Potter at all. That is my wife. That's a huge Harry Potter fan. But when the game was announced, I was like, you know what? All right, cool. Let me try to level with her. I forced her to watch Star Wars movies, so she tried to force me to watch the Harry Potter movies. I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep at least twice between all the movies, except for like one of them. But I was like, you know what? I'm a huge like YouTube guy, so I was constantly downloading videos on YouTube of just background information on characters, this and that. They're trying to get into the lore, because I wanted to at least know something for the game at least. And as I'm going through, I was like, oh, it's actually a really, really good world and universe. I just feel as though the writing itself is lacking of like the opportunities that were missed and everything, but neither here nor there. When I got to the game, the world's gorgeous. It runs amazing on the PS5. Maybe just have one or two stutters when you're in Hogwarts from leaving one spot to another. But other than that, the game's amazing. Slytherin all day, but I actually did go Ravenclaw, just because I was like, you know what? Let me see if maybe I get something different, because I kind of already know what the Slytherin experience is supposed to get you story wise, but I wanted to try. Yeah, that didn't really work out. But the main thing that kind of drags me in with this game is the possibilities for a sequel. The amazing stuff that they did, like they actually truly, not many games now actually know how to do side quests. They are just afterthoughts, and again, I'm a big RPG guy. Still, like most side quests now are just afterthoughts and just like fetch quest. This game pretty much was like, hey, you want to do all the cool spells, all the extra stuff? Go do these side quests, and these side quests are actually going to unlock your broom to go faster, better control on it. Here's spells that you can only use for specific puzzles or whatever, but you can't complete the puzzle without the spell. So they perfectly, regardless of what you think of the full story when you complete it, the side quests alone actually are a great foundation for the game as a whole. So I mean, for me personally, at least like a 8.5 out of 10 at
Okay.
least.
Yeah. Just real quick before we move on to our gaming news, because you were talking about like the whole side quest thing. I had this was like a shower thought, literally in a shower, just popped up, and I was thinking about like how side quests are treated nowadays, and they're just like side quests are almost meaningless half the time. Like they, to me, they play no part into what I'm trying to do in the damn game. Where like I was like, what if games try to move towards you have the primary missions and you have secondary missions, right? And those ones you have to complete to move the story forward. So the secondary missions are kind of like side missions, but they are a direct impact to the main story. Hold on, Roger. But you still have side missions. So if you want to be able to dive deeper into that lore, dive deeper into the world itself, it gives you that additional side content to go participate in. Where like some side content, it's like you get to a point where, damn, I didn't do side content. Now I'm fucked. I got to go back and do the side content, and then I can go back to this. Where like if the primary and the secondary content is like intertwined, but then still have that side content, I think that's where games are going to really succeed on. But Roger, what's your thoughts before we move on to our gaming
All right.
news?
So, last thing before we move on. I think Hogwarts Legacy is about a 50-50 with its side quest game. And like there was a lot of repetitiveness and a lot of bad side quests doing, but there was a lot of good side quests. Like, oh, my brother's gone missing. He got pulled up into the bad guys. What's happened to him? You find out. You have to go kill the fire the burning undead, and you're like, there are some good quests out there that actually feel like you're actually doing something meaningful for the world. Then there's other ones that's just like, go do a counter twice, and you're like, okay, just to get a new spell.
Yeah, it's like a
But then,
tutorial.
Yeah, so like there are
Question,
some
what house
side
were you?
quests that are, huh? Oh, Ravenclaw.
What? Oh, okay, so you were saying, okay, yeah. So you had the same experience, yeah. I understand
Yeah,
where you're going.
Yeah, Disney and
I think that one was the same for all of us. I'm a Gryffindor over here.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
played
like,
yet.
I
Oh,
thought the
wow.
game was super fun. I almost went Slytherin just because the hat was like, "You're a
The goblin.
Slytherin," and Jordan's like, "No, we're
Yeah.
not.
No, we're not.
Disney,
Okay, no, we're not."
Disney said we also helped the dude who lost his cart.
Oh,
Then
how
when-
how thoughtful.
Yeah, when Ranrock's dudes came and took the card, you
Yeah.
had to go into the camp, take it, follow it back, anything like that.
Well, you didn't have
You-
to follow it back, but yes, we did do
I
that.
thought
We were
you
like,
had to follow it back, and I was trying to ride the cart the whole time. I was like, "What if I can just ride this?" I straight up thought I had to follow it back the whole time, like it was like an escort quest for a magical cart. I'm like, what is going? I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
But yeah, 50-50 on the side quest. But
Yeah.
man, those ones that are good are damn
they're
good.
fun. They're super fun. And then there's other ones that are like, eh. But following up with your comment, Vic, is yeah, I think side quests we've ventured away from actual meaningful content to kind of useless content. Like that stuff that's just there to fill it. Like we had that with Parkour Simulator Zombie 2.0.
Yeah.
Like we had that where side quests weren't fuck, dude. They were just fucking shit. They
Yeah.
were garbage.
500
But, like,
hours
when
of content though.
and it's the same thing over and over again. But like
497 of them being side quests.
The
but
same
look at
side
some
quest.
classic games with side quests. You recently beat Mass Effect. Let's
Yeah.
talk about those side quests. They actually determine the ending.
Of the
You
game.
do the primary quest, that doesn't matter. Like however you handle the primary, it kind of ends the same unless you did the side quests. The side quests really determine who lives, who dies,
Yeah.
who shows up later, who you fuck. Like
Yeah. All of it matters.
about everything, dude. Like that is how we do side quests, and we've left that.
Right, because honestly, like when I was playing Mass Effect, we'll just talk about Mass Effect 2, the GOAT. Like Mass Effect 2, like it had its primary missions, it had secondary missions that played a meaningful impact to the main mission, and then it had legitimate side content. Like you can spend thousands of hours exploring every fucking planet they have in the game. No, I didn't explore not one planet I did not need to go to. If it wasn't part of the intertwined story, I
Wow.
wasn't going there. Just because of the content. I have to produce a lot of content to getting it out for
I
shit.
do. It's like I killed everyone. Fuck them
Yeah,
all.
yeah, no. I saved some people. I
Every
some people
planet, every
survived.
person, every time.
Yeah, so I eventually got to play through Mass Effect 3 still, so because we got the new Mass
Enjoy it,
Effect.
enjoy
Moving
it.
on. I appreciate
Mass
it.
Effect 3 first introduction into the whole series.
Okay.
And my buddy Santino, he actually told me that because he didn't do any side content within a Mass Effect 2, he said like literally everybody was dead when he got to 3.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh no. I at least had some people
Yeah.
survive from Mass Effect 2.
Soups.
Right.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting game, but like that's how we do side quests.
Right.
But I agree. That's kind of the issue we sometimes deal with lately is where side quests are just artificial content.
Right. So obviously we're talking about games. Let's move on to our gaming news.
Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to kick it off. Obviously, we started to start every episode off with our Xbox news, and this one here is like really controversial. Starting off the rip with Xbox upcoming release in May, Redfall. This game looks beautiful. It looks the excitement is there, but they had to figure out when to drop the bad news. They were like, "Hey guys, Xbox version, it's capped out at 30 frames per second, but on PC you'll have 60 frames. Well, we're going to get you 60 frames per second on Xbox later." And before any of you guys comment, I just wanted to relate this back to an episode I had with Scott. It was just me and Scott. I said, Scott, because Elden Ring. I said, Elden Ring. When does it come to a point where you wait to play a game because you'll play it at a better fidelity as opposed to playing it right at launch? And this is going to run into that same issues. Do I want to play Redfall at 30 frames or 60 frames? Redfall at 60 frames is going to look way better.
So while this and our prior conversation aren't exact, they do rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were talking about that and we had that conversation, we were talking about two things: necessities and nice to haves.
Yeah.
Ray tracing at the time was a nice to have. 30 frames per second
Is a necessity.
It's a necessity.
What the fuck? I was gonna say this. I was like, 2016 call. They want their game back.
It's at least 16-bit, right? I just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Should
cool.
be
Color. We're playing with 8-bit color here, bud.
Cool. I just want to double check and make sure because 30 frames per second. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me get to the point where it's like, is this going to be playable? Because like I'm playing games that are lower than 60, and I'm like, it stutters. It feels.
It's
it
noticeable.
Feels, it's
Halo
so
5.
noticeable.
Halo 5, Halo Infinite.
Yeah. I mean, real quick, my last thought real quick before I let Paul get the floor here is that it was easier easier to see the jump from 30 frames per second to 60 frames than it is from 60 to 120 because 120 is
Right.
almost impossible to see from the naked eye, but I see the difference now even because Call of Duty, I play Call of Duty on my 120 FPS TV out here and it looks great. I'm playing on a 60 FPS TV at the hospital right now and I'm like, fuck, it sucks, but I'm just like, holy shit, like you really do see the difference, but it's not as noticeable as 30 to 60, and I was really looking forward to Redfall, and I might wait to play Redfall because I'm not playing it on my PC. My 980 RTX is not going to look great either, so wait until the Xbox Series X gets 60 FPS, and I'll be able to hop in.
Toby,
But,
I guess we're playing without him.
yeah, probably.
I guess so, man.
And the thing is, I'll be fine
that's
with it.
great.
It sucks, but
We got Paul.
Yeah.
Paul said he'll hop in.
Yeah,
So Paul, what's your thoughts on this?
I'll be honest, y'all might be playing it without me. Where I come from is I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I mean, for Christ's sake, my youngest son, his middle name's Altair. So like a big Assassin's Creed fan. I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on performance mode, and I said, you know what? I have a 4K TV. Why don't I just put it on the visual mode? So I switched it over to 4K. And I had to switch it back as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where I'm just climbing. I'm looking at grass, moving around, swinging my axe around. I play shooters. I am a shooter at heart. If I can't play a Viking climbing shit at 30 FPS, why do I want to play a shooter at that? Someone on Twitter
Right.
was talking about how on the 360, Call of Duty games were 720, 60 FPS. Like, now, regardless if that's true or not, I don't care. All I know is that my Call of Duty now plays at 120
Right.
when it doesn't drop in frames. Oh, but you can't give me 60? I don't care, like you said, about ray tracing and all that stuff. I don't care. Even if it's just, ray tracing reflection, whatever, puddle gate with fucking Spider-Man. I don't give me
Puddle gate.
like, yeah, like just give me a performance. It's a shooting game as well as just going to be a lot of particle effects. That's going to affect the frame rate itself too. It's an
Right.
open world. We're not supposed to be tethered together, so okay, I understand it's gonna drop performance a lot, but just do what was it Guerrilla Games did with Horizon. Whatever you see is whatever's loaded. Like you don't. If I understand this next gen console, blah blah blah, but if you can't give me 60 FPS on a next gen title, now correct me if I'm wrong. This is only next gen, or is it also on previous gen?
I believe it should be next gen, but it's played via cloud on Xbox One technically.
But even
then-
then, 60 FPS, that's your basement
Right.
nowadays.
It should be for the Series X. Like it's touted as the most powerful console ever created, and and it's not even allowed to use the 60 FPS. So it's like, what is going on at the studio
And
that's not
remember,
allowing?
Redfall has been pushed back multiple times.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's been
So
delayed.
is this why it's pushed back?
Right. So, but that's the thing. Even if it was, why is it still
Absolutely.
not able to reach 60? And like, how soon are we going to get 60? But we'll dive back in more into Redfall some other time. But moving on to their services, big announcement. This has been leading up because we've been following the leaks and the rumors. Ubisoft Plus is officially now available on Xbox consoles, allowing you to you link accounts, so you'll be able to have access to their entire library. Basically, it's like 60 plus titles and their DLC, which is surprising because Game Pass doesn't really do a great job as integrating DLC. You have to buy that shit separately, which is a down part to Game Pass. That is probably one negative for Game Pass, but $18 a month for Ubisoft Plus, not happening, bro. Like that's more than Game Pass, and I'm getting less out of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, no, thank you. And like, not even to have an option like an add-on. Like, you should be able to like, I have Xbox Game Pass, right? If I want to add this, it's like $5 extra or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, add like an additional service like Hulu does it. If you want to get stars, you can add stars for like $5 or whatever.
Yeah, but like, what are you getting for Ubisoft Plus that Game Pass doesn't give you better stuff? Like, you're paying 15 for Game Pass at the biggest, and it still has a better catalog.
Yeah,
Now, new games, is it just trials or is it full game releases? when
full
you get
game
trials?
releases.
Okay, because EA only does trials for there, which I don't care because EA's with Game Pass,
Right,
so
yeah.
we get it regardless. But I mean, if you're looking at the lineup, what need is there for really for Ubisoft Plus? I mean, Assassin's
Nothing
Creed
right now.
Mirage. Don't get me wrong,
I'm
we're
hyped
going
for
back
it.
to the roots. I'm here for it. I already pre-ordered collector's edition. I love it. Like, I'm cool. But other than that, what else are we getting for Ubisoft? Like that even anybody cares about or wants? Nobody's gonna get what's the pirate game that's coming out?
Skull and Bones. No one's excited
nobody's
for
worried
that.
about that. Beyond Good and Evil,
Good
I'm
Friday.
still in its program and everything. There's been no word on Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Right.
It's just sitting on the back burner and stuff. X Defiance going to be free when it releases.
Right.
So what exactly do we care? I mean, with the Avatar game maybe, but
I
that's
think.
horrible. Like,
Oh yeah, we talked about that one too. I
Yeah.
do not give a shit about the Avatar game. The Avatar game can get fucked and stay fucked. But I think what we're moving here towards is like, it's the streaming platform version on video games. You know, I have Peacock Plus. Ask me when the last time I used fucking Peacock Plus.
yeah.
I don't know, but like, you know, there was that one thing I really wanted at one point, and now I have fucking $18 a month in Ubisoft Plus because there was the one game I wanted the one time,
You're right.
and
So-
just in case they come out with something.
It's the new HBO Max of subscription.
It's
You
called
get it when a
Max.
series drops.
It's just Max. Get it right.
Oh, sorry, Max. It's the new Max. No, HBO Max is what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
old HBO Max before they started getting the real good shows lately, where they're doing their first party shows. Like HBO Max back in the day, you would get it when a show dropped,
And you
and
drop
then
it.
you would drop it when the show ended for the season.
A lot of
That's
people
what
do that with
Ubisoft
Disney
Plus
Plus.
is.
Honestly, Disney Plus,
Yeah.
they do it all the time.
That's-
There's not new
that's
new
what's
Star
gonna
Wars or
happen
Marvel show, they're dropping it. But
Disney,
Disney,
I do agree. Peacock is $5. $5, I don't care
you
about
do,
$5.
yeah, you do forget about $5.
You
But
forget
honestly,
about $5.
honestly, like I thought about $10. I had Discord Nitro, right, and then there for a while I was like, I'm not really using it that much to have Nitro, so I dropped it for a few months. But then when I'm starting to upload a lot of my content to our Discord servers, whether it's my promotional material, both for like the Call of Duty S2W or over here at Press Start Podcast, you get like a 5 megabyte limitation. I'm like, well, shit, this shit's like 15. I gotta get Nitro now, so it's like fuck. So I,
But for $5,
Yeah.
you can have this.
yeah, exactly. But
But one's 15, one's 5, one's $14.99, one's this, and the next thing
Yeah.
you know, you're actually paying twice a cable bill.
right. So
Oh, don't
I just want to
don't
rattle off
sign
the two
up.
things for Xbox before we rattle off a couple more topics here. Design Labs had an update. That's where you can make your like custom Xbox controller. They got new colors. See 16 new main colors for the top and back of the case, 12 new colors for the ABXY, 17 new colors for the paddles and D-pad, and 25 new colors for like the rest of the controller, like the grips and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool to see an update on that. A lot of really nice colors. But for Game Pass, man, Game Pass is coming to 40 new countries. So make sure you check out those if you guys are tuning in here from another one here. I'm going to drop a link into the chat. So if you're watching this live, you'll be able to check that out. See if you're viewing from another country, you'll be able to get Game Pass there. But Roger, what's going on in the PlayStation world?
Okay, so God of War Ragnarok, there's now a new game plus mode. It offers an increased level cap. There's going to be new equipment, armor. That's the Black Bear and Spartan armors. We're also going to see new enchantments, the Gilded Sins, Berserker Soul Drops, and Burdens. So that's cool. And then also Niflheim Sparring Arena will now let players choose from both Kratos and Atreus, so you can actually kind of play your group. So you don't have to always play as one character or the other, or you have to be at a specific part in the story to do that content. Now
like
we
that.
also had Final Fantasy 16. We got to see the state of the play, or did we see the state of the play?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the other
yeah,
day.
We did, yeah.
So that, yeah, I couldn't remember. I didn't get to see it yet.
Yeah, me neither.
But we actually got to see more content for Final Fantasy 16.
25 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, it's like when we saw the Final Fantasy 15 gameplay, and like it's just the gameplay we saw from what was it, the Game Awards last year, and
It looked good.
Like, I am so excited for Final Fantasy, and I'm just like every time I watch it, I get more hyped and then sad that it's not here yet.
Right.
So like, but check it out. If you really are excited for Final Fantasy 16, we got more gameplay, actual
Hell
gameplay,
yeah.
not just trailers.
Love
Yeah.
that shit.
And it's you can watch that shit in 4K on YouTube now. So instead of watching that shit live stream at 1080p, you can rewatch it at 4K. But yeah, I mean, we only got what 2 months here. June 22nd is Final Fantasy 16's release date. So, and Roger, you have a PS5, so you're already set up for it. But Scott,
Yeah.
what's going on with Amazon here?
So it looks like one of the 4 people that we were talking about last week didn't get laid off yet,
Okay.
right? And they have been busy. So we've got the free games coming to Amazon Prime Gaming. So I'm going to run through this list. I'm going to run through the name and when it's going to be coming out. Hopefully, a lot of these are going to get some actual traction. Once again, as per our conversation last week. So we're kind of seeing where Amazon's going to go with that. So we're looking at Wolfenstein: The New Order, that's available now. Ninja Commando, that's available now. Art of Fighting 3, The Beast Inside, Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition, and Cross Swords and Ghost Pilots are all available now. Coming up on April 20th, we're going to have Beholder 2, Terraformers, Metal Slug 4, and Ninja Masters. Next big date to look for is going to be April 27th. That's going to be looking for Aliens, Grime, Sengoku, and Magician Lord. So that is about 15 games that they're going to be pushing out here this month. Hopefully, we get some hits here. I know they're probably praying for some. So
Yeah, I think
we'll
most of
see
these
how
are
that
all
goes.
indie developed except for like the first like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
We'll-
like,
we'll-
Yeah, but I was thinking more like through the Prime Gaming.
yeah. So like
to get
Wolfenstein
them
New
some actual
Order
money so they
is-
can pay actual developers.
Right, yeah. So Wolfenstein New Order is a game I highly recommend. I played through and beat that one. That was like the rework of Wolfenstein, like bringing back Wolfenstein to the modern age, and that was really good. I still got to play through Wolfenstein 2. But yeah, that one was really good. Ninja Commando, I heard a lot of good things. The Art of Fighting is pretty interesting, but the rest of them I think are pretty small. Metal Slug is pretty big, I guess. That's another big one there.
Metal Slug is a classic.
Yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But moving on to a conversation that I alluded to in the chat a little bit ago in regards to NVIDIA, they just announced the GeForce RTX 4070 GPU. This is the 5th card in the 40 series already, and it's the successor to the RTX 3070. No brainer there. Some of the highlight features here is that it's a 12 gigabyte DDR6X memory on it. And it can do 1440p at 100 plus frames per second, while also being able to do ray tracing in DLSS3. This sounds like the perfect fucking card if you ask me. And the thing is, yeah, Scott, you talked about it in chat earlier. It's affordable, being only $5.99, obviously before MSRP, as long as it doesn't get scalped up and resold for
That's the
$13,000.
only
That's the biggest
caveat I
thing.
could see this card.
But
If I can grab this MSRP, I'm actually gonna buy it. Like,
and it just came
I
out
have
3 days
the money.
ago, so you might want to check it, see if it's still available to
Mhm.
purchase, even at this
I
point.
mean, yeah,
And
600.
and what was it, Nerd Squid? He mentioned he was like, I might as well just upgrade my PC, is what it sounds like. So that, I mean, that could be a solid card. It's just I got some stuff dealing with right now that I can't drop that kind of money on right now. But that's a decent card that would get me through for a while. 1440p, 100 frames per second. Give me that ray tracing. That'll give me my Xbox quality, all but maybe not the 4K part of it. But I can deal with 1440p for sure.
Oh yeah, you can deal for sure, but there's something you can't deal with. The Disney said over here, as long as it doesn't melt your computer. I think as long as you don't, play New World on it, you'll be okay.
Right, it'll be okay. But moving on to our next topic here, Roger, Valorant had an interesting announcement, especially given that the CS:GO 2 was recently announced, or CS2.
Yeah, Valorant decided they were gonna add realistic-looking skins, things like you would see in CS:GO, like the actual AK. Like the thing looks like an AK now, and it's like,
Yeah.
ooh. But this isn't the first time we've had realistic gun skins. We
Right.
also did have the World War I skins, like you had the M1 Grand.
And the MP40 for the Spectre.
Oh, these skins look like OG CS:GO skins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And Scott, Resident Evil, obviously you've been playing, you recently beat that. I think both you guys recently beat that game, but Resident Evil had some new announcements with not 4, but some other properties here.
Yeah. So what they decided to come out with was a little bit weird at first. So Denuvo was an anti-piracy software that came with on/the game. And it's been blamed for a lot of performance issues with Resident Evil Village. So they decided to finally go ahead and take that off. I mean, I get it. Once again, I mean, how many people are still playing Resident Evil Village? I don't know the actual number for that, but they moved it off because of those performance issues, and that's a big step for them because they were so concerned with the anti-piracy of Resident Evil Village that it actually got in the way of gameplay. Now, Denuvo has been there for a bunch of games, hasn't caused any issues, but this one specifically was really the big squeaky wheel.
Denuvo
the
actually
series.
is huge. It's
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones, and it's actually really bad. Like we see new games dropping with Denuvo, and it's taking 20, 30 frames off of a game. That's huge. When you're looking at 100 frames, 20 or 30, that's a fifth.
They better not fucking put it on Redfall. That's all I'm
Yeah, better
saying.
not.
Well, if you're getting it on Game Pass, then
Yeah, sorry about that, but no, that was a good move on their part. I mean, I'm not gonna go back and play Village just because Denuvo's out.
Right. But this
not
comes
going to.
this comes back to, man, I'm glad I waited to play Village because now I'll be able to play it at a better quality potentially without having to run into that issue.
Stop trying to justify
I'm
playing games.
I'm going to. I love making my backlog really huge and then going back to playing and thinking I'm making a dent, but like 37 more games were added to it, so I understand. But Paul,
You go to the other side of that page.
right?
And it's just-
it's the backside, like fuck. But Paul, have you played Resident Evil Village at all?
I have not. Okay. The only time I ever played it was one of my buddies. He is not good at shooting whatsoever, and it's the scene when you're wait, which Resident Evil am I thinking of? Is Village 7?
Village
No,
is 8.
8.
Village is
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Okay,
7
never
was
mind.
Biohazard. Biohazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Biohazard was definitely when I did not play Village. I only played like a section of Biohazard.
Yeah,
My
but
buddy
eight-
sucks at shooting.
But Village is the direct sequel to Biohazard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. This
Yeah.
the one with the woman that was like 8 feet tall, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
mommy or whatever people call
Yeah.
it.
hey Siri, launch mommydommy.exe.
But we're gonna skip out on that other Resident Evil. I mean, I'll run through it real quick. Resident Evil Death Island officially trailer extended gameplay was released. Maybe we're getting like a co-op version of Resident Evil here in the future, so I'll be on the lookout for that. But Call of Duty, man, back in the controversial realm here. They released new bundles where they're pay to win. Basically, that's what they're being classified as because you can get a Bomb Squad bundle that includes an additional active duty slot for DMZ. The issue here is like there's no other way to earn that fourth one. The only way to get that fourth one is to buy it. So that's not fair. Also includes a free medium backpack. So every time you start up a new game with that operator, you're going to have a medium backpack offer it, which could be game changer. Also includes the EOD specialist along with a insured weapon cooldown bonus. So I'm just like, man, like that's crazy. Well, it gets even
That's
crazier
pretty
here.
done.
That's crazy here, right? Reports are showing the data miners have already found bundles that grants players with additional armor vests, which is huge in fucking DMZ because finding armor in general was already hard. But you also going to have a UAV every time you start. And UAVs are so precious in DMZ. Like that's going to make or break some games, honestly. So, Paul, what's your thoughts on all of this? Because I know you're big into the Call of Duty world.
Yes, so I funny enough, I on my free time I like to play third person on Call of Duty. I love my Ghost Recon days, so that feels good. But I went to the store and so that stuff's already available for purchase. The one with the extra slot that's available for purchase currently, as well as the one that every time you load up with that character, you get a 2-plate vest starting off with. That's available for purchase right now as well.
Okay.
It's horrible. It's quite literally becoming a pay to win, and I understand because you're scavenging for everything. This does give you a help boost, but if you can't even afford to pay for it, you don't get that extra boost. So then you're forced to play rounds with people who are still cheating in that game and just die every time,
Right.
or pay the stuff so that way you can at least start the next game with it. Or it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So, Roger, Warhammer 40K had an update to a game that we saw.
Gun! Dude, talking about Doom and other like classic games. So like
Yeah.
Warhammer decided let's go back and make like an OG style shooter game, bolt gun. We're talking like 2D pixel sprites, you know.
Yeah.
It's actually
It looks like the
crazy.
OG Doom. The OG Doom. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Exactly. And it Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun is an upcoming first-person shooter that comes out next month. It's made by Arok Digital and published by Focus. It was developed to look like OG Doom. So like it actually plays like OG Doom.
Yeah.
You got armor, you got like your shields, your guns. You collect guns as you go through, and it looks like your OG 90s shooters.
Yeah. Looks dope.
Yeah.
And it got its official release date, May 23rd. So a month away, dude. A month and a week away.
We had seen it for like 2 or 3 months now, but like
Yeah, because they
we
announced
just-
it at that
jumped-
the Warhammer event that we covered
Yes.
a few months back. But now we got the official release date, and so that it looks pretty cool. Honestly, this may be a game that I could check out. This would be a perfect game that they could bring to Game Pass. Honestly, because like all of the other Warhammer shit that we've been getting on
Well,
Game Pass
and-
hasn't been doing
and
well.
we've got that's because the developers. But
Yeah.
this is one of those games that like we had Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
Like the Warhammer 40K
We had Dark
Total
Tide.
War.
Well, yeah,
Total War and Dark Tide, both on Game Pass. That was big. Like
Yeah.
to get both full $60 games on Game Pass, that was awesome.
yeah. It just had their issues, but I would love to see
Yeah.
Bolt Gun. That'd be an awesome follow up. But Scott, Paul, I know you'll have a lot to say on this topic here for Diablo 4. What's going on with this, man? This was big here.
Hey, they put out a huge announcement. So they are going to be offering new content every 3 months.
New story.
That is
content.
new story. Yeah, new story content. Sorry, thought that was
Well,
implied.
you know, with
But
games like
yeah,
this,
it's,
you have events,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
You might just get bundles. You might get cosmetics.
Honestly, it's gonna be a bunch of reskinned guns. They took a cue from Call of Duty, and they're giving you new skins for guns and new skins for operators. No, so they are
Call
going
of
to be
Duty.
giving out new story every 3 months. There's going to be a team actively working this shit. There's going to be a team making sure that this comes out and is good and playable and continues on with the original story from the game. Massive.
Yeah, it's not seasoned, so that's the thing we want to make very clear.
Yes.
Every 3 months, you will get new story. As he said, continuing where you left off, not seasonal modifiers like every 3 months you get a new season. No, this will be a new story to continue where you left off, just like Path of Exile does, just like so many of these other top down gauntlet style games. You are going to get a continuation.
This will not be a pay. This will not be a pay for a DLC. Nothing like that.
This is a live service done right.
Thank you.
Right.
That
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. This is that live service model that actually fucking works.
I love the tie-in, but I'll tie it in here in just a second. Paul, what's your thoughts on this Diablo 4 content?
I think that's great, especially coupled with the fact that they also said that the Lilith statues will not be resetting. So that alone is also amazing because now you could go into this new content. If you want to start a new character, then you can as well, and you can still get that reset boost. So you
Okay.
don't start as level 1 within every character as long as you get the Lilith statues. So this is amazing. It's very like akin to like how Destiny does their DLCs or their expansions,
Yeah.
minus the like $40-$50 every time it comes
Right,
out. But this is gonna be amazing. Again, my first introduction to Diablo was Diablo 3, and I started very, very, very late. So jumping
Same.
into Diablo
You
4,
started when it
that-
was good.
yeah. So I've heard. So
Don't talk about Diablo 2 like that.
No, Diablo 3.
No, I'm saying you said you jumped in and it was good. Don't talk about Diablo 2 like that.
Yeah, it's amazing though. Like I'm happy for it. The story within Diablo 4 as it starts off, the opening cinematic was just chef's kiss. Like it was amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm extremely happy to see what's to come.
Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. So my tie on here though about live service game done well. Well, the other game that was probably not going to do it well was Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. It has officially been delayed. No, like we knew this was coming. They got bad feedback, and we were like, well, fuck, we fucked up.
Full year.
Yeah, basically a full year. February of 2024 is expected release date. It might get delayed even further than that at this point.
It's getting canceled, dude.
At this point.
I call it. Calling it right now. Today. It's getting canceled before it comes out next year.
We'll see.
But you know what? If
Unlock.
it does come out, it's gonna have 60 frames per second.
I hate you.
People unlocking stuff in game. Like I understand the battle pass system, but it's like I feel like games are just taking, or developers are taking things out of games. Just like, hey, here's more content. We'll give it to you later. They did the same thing with God of War Ragnarok. Like new game plus is something that should just be in the game. Period.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, here's an update later. I'm like, no, Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls had that stuff back on the PS like 3. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get what these companies doing.
Yeah, definitely interesting there. But a game that's on the highlight, honestly, is this game called Immortals of Avium. This game recently got a new trailer that I'm going to drop here in the chat, so if you guys want to check it out. Normally I would throw it up on the screen, I just don't have the scenes properly set up for tonight's episode. But this game's coming out July 20th, and boy, does this game look good. But they're describing it as like Call of Duty, but without the guns and using magic. And I'm like, ooh, you already got me hooked. I love Call of Duty, but this is a different take on it, and it's because it's made by developers who once worked on Call of Duty that went to this new developer called Ascendant Studios LLC, and they made it their own thing. And they're like, we got this new game. It's FPS. No guns, all magic. And the gameplay trailer, I'm like, holy fuck, this game should looks crazy. The cinematics looks crazy, and it's being published by EA, but it's via the EA Originals. And we have had a ton of hits from EA Originals. We had Lost in Random, which I recently played and beat. Wild Hearts, which recently released. It's on game. You can play it 10 hours on Game Pass. It Takes Two, one game of the year.
Game of the year.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
Unravel 1 and 2, which I recently played and beat. Unravel 1, and I mentioned I'm going to play through number 2. A Way Out, which is the game that led up to It Takes Two from the same developer. And so many more titles that they also released. So, like, I have high hopes for this game, because this almost reminds me of like that Forsaken game that PlayStation released, but this one's going to do it the right way and just take it to the next level. So I'm really excited.
I'm
for
really
this
just hoping it doesn't end up like Spellbreak.
one. I agree.
I was so hyped for Spellbreak.
Yeah.
I really hope this doesn't end up like that.
Right. So that's all of our gaming news this week. We're going to move on to our leaks and rumors. So I'm gonna kick it off here with Sega. Sega had two interesting leaks aka rumors here. There was an alleged leaked gameplay of the Persona 3 remake, which we've been kind of covering for the past couple of months, and we saw some glimpses of it. And potentially a new Jet Set Radio game is in the works because we saw some potential leaked images, and kind of makes perfect sense. We just seen the hugely successful Hi-Fi Rush, which was heavily inspired by Jet Set Radio. Why not release it based off of that hype that game does well? Let's bring back a classic title but modernize it. I think that would be beautiful. But the other one here is that they are reportedly buying Angry Birds developer Rovio for $1 billion. I'm ready for it. We're going to see Sonic the Hedgehog featuring the Angry Birds. I'm ready for it.
Angry
So
Birds is still a thing? Like what?
yeah, it's a really big mobile game. The movies have done
It has
fairly well. So
has a TV show, right? I think.
I don't know, maybe.
It's definitely a popular pooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll definitely follow that story as if that progresses into something legitimate. But Scott, what's going on in Bethesda here? I think this is pretty exciting news.
So we finally got some news out of Elder Scrolls 6. It wasn't a release date or anything else. It wasn't anything of of import.
Value.
However, what we did see is there was some job listings posted out for the development team of Elder Scrolls 6, and one of the requirements or preferable skills on that was experience with multiplayer games, like MMORPG style. So that leads to a lot of questions about Elder Scrolls 6. Will that end up being multiplayer? Will it be more like your pseudo ESO kind of multiplayer games? Will it
Are we
allow
gonna get
you?
something in between?
Right.
Are we gonna get something in between where like Skyrim Together, the mod where you can play with other people?
Right.
Will it give something that I know I've been wanting? I don't know if other people have wanted, but in Oblivion you had the arena, and what would have made the arena just one touch better, multiplayer, play against other people. So really, it absolute cancer. Oh man, I would have loved it. It would have been so toxic.
It would have given you a chance to show off your horse armor.
Thank you. Thank you. Or the fact that nobody can crouch and sneak with a bow like I can crouch and sneak with a bow.
Right.
But yes,
Looking at you in the eye, and you're like, I'm thinking.
so yeah, just more things coming out of that rumor mill for Elder Scrolls 6. Hopefully, we'll see something that won't be game breaking, something that will give you that first player experience with a little bit of multi salt bait in.
Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, if not, we'll just see a mod for it later on, like we do with
Yeah,
with the rest of them.
because once again, the only person I trust to do stuff for games is the fans.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
If you want to play Hogwarts Legacy in a multiplayer mod, go play it. It's there. It's available.
I mean, like, there's a full sex mod for Skyrim. Let's just put that out there. The fans gave us the service we needed, I guess.
What is
Right.
the name of that? So I know to block it.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Paul, are you a big fan of Elder Scrolls? And if so, are you looking forward to a potential multiplayer version?
Yeah, I'm actually a very big fan of it. Speaking of games that did side quests very well, Skyrim did an amazing job. They had whole storylines that were just side quests. But yeah, no, they did an amazing job with what they've done previously. I don't know if I really want an ESO for Skyrim 6. I do kind of hope it's more or less like a drop-in, drop-out co-op, or like you said, an area in which go ahead and just do your thing. But I do kind of just give me my single player, possibly co-op, for your story, and then give me my sections where I can, have everybody there with me.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's definitely exciting news, though. I love it.
Awesome. So yeah, man, that's everything that we got to cover today. So we want to thank everyone who did check us out live today here on Twitch, and everyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
Hey, you can find me at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion. My name is typically above me. It's not now.
Not today, yeah. Not today.
You can find it down in the links.
And Scott, where can they find you at?
So you can find me at twitch.tv/Scobie1. Discord if you want to hang out, talk, it's Scobie1, numbers 9369. Battle.net if you want to hang out and play some games, it's Scobie1 11780 are my numbers. And then if you just want to look into my personal life and shoot the shit, you can get me up on Instagram at Scobie1.
And Paul, where can the community find you, Evan?
You can find me on all your various social media networks. At Inhuman Line. That's INHUMANLINE. Inhuman Line on everything.
Awesome. And of course, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _ Xbox is X Never Space Chilling if you want a game party up, maybe catch some dubs in Warzone. Facebook is Vic Brubacher. Question concerns if you want to come on the show, slide in my DMs there. And catch me over on my Twitch at twitch.tv / Mr. Never Chillin, where I'll be starting Unravel 2 and maybe another game. I'll see what I can find in Game Pass or if I want to pick up another game here soon. But we want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.
Thanks for hanging out.
Press start podcast.